A great question to ask when writing comedy is, who is the worst person for X? For example, who is the worst person to deliver ransom money? Follow-up question, who is the worst person to then go and search for the missing person that the money was meant to save? One possible answer, the embodiment of slacker culture in the 90s. Another example, who is the worst person to send on an extremely dangerous mission to a sketchy territory to ensure the return of a valuable item? A child. More specifically, a child with his friend, who is also a child. Children. Today we'll be talking about how The Big Lebowski by the Coen brothers and the Spongebob Squarepants movie by Stephen Hillenburg compare and contrast as comedies. The dude aspires to just chill and take things easy, not super motivated to be anything big in life. Spongebob, on the other hand, is making a huge effort to move up on the corporate ladder, and yet, both of them start their respective movies by being reduced to nothing by some rich asshole that needs their help almost immediately afterwards. In The Big Lebowski, that being the other guy named Jeff Lebowski, not to be confused with our protagonist, the dude, who legally has the same name. After having his rug stolen by some punks demanding money from the wrong Lebowski, the dude goes to the correct Lebowski and asks for some reimbursement, to which Lebowski says, "Didn't ask, I'm rich, you're not, cope." About a week later, Mr. Lebowski calls upon the dude to deliver ransom money, as his trophy wife, Bunny, has been kidnapped. In the SpongeBob movie, the titular character SpongeBob starts his day excited for the opening of the Krusty Krab 2. Along with the opening, Mr. Krabs, the owner, is hiring a new manager. Given that he is A, extremely committed to his work, and B, one of two employees, SpongeBob reckons that he's pretty much in the bag for the promotion. Unfortunately, though, he was denied this promotion because, well, he's a kid. SpongeBob resents Krabs for this decision. Yet the next day, he is called upon to retrieve Neptune's crown on behalf of Mr. Krabs so that Neptune doesn't kill him. For context, Neptune thinks that Krabs pawned off his crown when in reality it was Plankton, who is Mr. Krabs' business rival. Both these guys, SpongeBob and the dude, strongly differ in their relationship to work and probably have slightly varied ideas as to what it means to be successful. But at the same time, they are extremely similar in the fact that despite being possibly the worst person for the jobs they were chosen for, they took the job. Alongside them, their best friend, who is just so interesting. Walter is a war veteran who throughout the film struggles with letting go of the past, his time in the military, his previous marriage, etc. This affects him and his relationships greatly. He's stubborn, violent, thinks he knows everything, and frankly, he doesn't. He spends a lot of the movie getting himself and the dude into even more trouble than they already are. Patrick is a starfish who throughout the film struggles to keep up with the plot. He is SpongeBob's best friend, and like SpongeBob, is described as a kid. The two of them spend a lot of the movie grappling with the differences between what it means to be a kid, a man, and a goofy goober. Both Patrick and Walter deal with personal identity throughout their respective films, but by the end of the movie, are more or less the same guy they were before. Same for SpongeBob and Dude. This is arguably part of this movie's charm and what makes them funny. Now, listen, I'm not gonna sit here and mansplain to you what it means to be funny. I will, however, quote an old Slovenian woman who has some serious thoughts on the matter. According to Alenka Supanček's book, The Odd One In, on comedy, there are essentially two types of comedy. Of course, there are many styles of comedy, farce, surreal, observational, etc., but even these have a tendency to fall into two different camps. These camps are described as finitude and finitude with a hole in it. Based on discussions in my class, the best way I can describe it is that finitude is when hook, line, sinker, finitude with a hole in it is when yes and. Here's the example my professor gave. A man spray paints a brick wall to say God is dead, signed Nietzsche, and walks away. A second man comes to the wall with spray paint, and underneath the first statement writes, Nietzsche is dead, signs God. That's finitude comedy. Setting it up, God is dead, knocking him down, Nietzsche is dead. Let's run that back and change it a little bit. A man spray paints a brick wall to say, God is dead, and walks away without punctuating the sentence. A second man comes to the wall with spray paint, adds a comma to the first sentence, then puts underneath, and I'm not feeling too well myself. That's finitude with a hole in it comedy. God is dead, yes, and I'm not feeling too well myself. Another hallmark of finitude with a hole in it comedy is when there is a loaded absence. The punchline lies in what's not being said. If you're still confused, don't worry. On the first day of teaching this, my professor sort of made a point to tell our class, don't think about it too hard. I think his exact words were actually like, don't look at it directly, like it was a skinwalker or something. Hillenburg and the Coens are very good at utilizing both of these tools. For example,
fill her up, please.
What'll it be, fellas? Mustard or ketchup?
Are they laughing at us?
No, Patrick. They're laughing next to us.
and also,
Where's the money, Lebowski? You want that money, Lebowski? Bunny says you're good for it. Where's the money, Lebowski? Where's the money, Lebowski? Where's the fucking money, shithead?
It's down there somewhere. Let me take another look.
just to be clear, there's not one type that's better than the other. It's the ability to write both of these types into your script, capture both these types onto your camera, and direct both these types into your performances that makes for a strong comedy. Back to what I was saying earlier, in their own weird way, SpongeBob and the Dude are embodiments of finitude with a hole in it. They, as characters, were not written to be entirely grounded in reality. Finitude simply cannot hold them down. This gives the writers a bit more breathing room to be wacky, since the audience's disbelief was suspended from the get-go. With a story like SpongeBob, that's really easy to do since he's from a farcical kids cartoon. In The Big Lebowski, the Coen set up Dude as being sort of otherworldly with the help of their narrator, the Stranger. The Stranger is an homage to old Western films, which is all about making their protagonists look way cooler than everybody else. Or at least, different from everybody else. And by the end of the film, our main characters have long since accepted themselves for who they are, and the biggest lesson that they learned is that despite being who they are more than capable of achieving what they are least qualified for.
Hey, settle down.
The dude abides.
What the scallop?
I'm a goofy goober! You're a goofy goober! We're all goofy goobers! Goofy, goofy, goober, goober! Put your toys